music and the dance steps are reminiscent of days gone by, but for those who love vintage music, segment 2 finds out about a New Year's Eve that could be just the thing. These stories and all the news on this Thursday night, December 29, 1983.
The Bay Area's most complete nighttime television report with the award-winning Channel 2 news team.
So, Barbara Simpson's going to tell us about tonight's segment.
Right, Dennis. On segment 2 tonight, Bob MacKenzie takes us on a path of musical reminiscence as we meet the Royal Society Jazz Orchestra and find out all about their New Year's Eve show, an old way to bring in the new year.
Your thinking changes, your attitudes change. I even find myself listening to KOIT a lot, and I mean a lot. And I never thought I'd find my kind of music on Coit. But my kind of music is just music that makes me feel good. I'm driving along and I'm listening to Coit, and I find myself singing my head off, and it makes me feel good. Obviously, Coit has gone through some changes, but so have I. I'm not Little Miss Rock and Roll anymore, I think. I hope.
This is the elegant lobby of the Mark Hopkins Hotel in San Francisco, and if you'd been out on the town in, say, 1927 and stepped in here, you might have heard the sounds of a full-scale jazz orchestra emanating from the Peacock Court over there, and if you'd walked in, you'd have seen San Francisco tea dancing. Well, come with us into the Twilight Zone. Old-timers who remember tea dancing in this room to the Anson Weeks Orchestra and other bands today could drop into these monthly sessions and think they'd stepped into a time warp. This exuberant ensemble is the Royal Society Jazz Orchestra, the result of one man's love affair with the music of the past. Don Neely formed the band in 1976 when he was a music student at San Jose State. It was a dream that started when he was 12 years old and acquired a Victrola, with a pile of old shellac phonograph records from the 20s. While other kids listened to the Beatles and Sonny and Cher, Neely collected Paul Whiteman records.
You would be your voice with thrilling nation.
That petite brunette who sounds so much like the late Ruth Etting is Carla Normand, who is also Mrs. Don Neely. She too grew up with a love for the old sounds. They had to find each other. At home, the Neelys live surrounded by the era whose exuberance and charm they're trying to keep alive. The furniture, the pictures, the lamps, the rugs and curtains are all functioning artifacts of the 1920s and 30s. On the walls are pictures of their musical heroes, Fats Waller, Paul Whiteman. Neely researches the old arrangements, striving for authenticity, but also for the feeling of the music that he says shouldn't be allowed to slip away.
It should be preserved. It's like preserving Mozart or Bach. At least I think it is. It was excellent music to begin with. Some of our finest composers came out of the 20s and 30s, Gershwin and Cole Porter, and Noel Coward, etc. And it shouldn't be lost. It's still good. And just because it went out of vogue once doesn't mean that it shouldn't be listened to today.
I think we were destined for one another because we're rather fanatical. And it was just natural that we should get together.
It's kind of neat to get a vocalist and a wife at the same time, isn't it?
Well, it really is. I think we're the Ozzie and Harriet of the 80s, you might say. Has avid followers who go wherever the Royal Society Jazz Band is playing,
For the tea dances at the Mark, they'll often dress in period style and even dance the old steps. In the 1920s, when music was sweet and people really danced. We now return control of your television set to you. In San Francisco, this is Bob MacKenzie for segment 2.
We don't have any memory of that, do we?
No.
Okay, let's just check it.